get money the right way, fam. Like, what the fuck is you doing? What are you doing, fam? Just crashing out for no reason, fam.
Coming this bitch like Super Saiyan. Yeah, that coupe is full of Zans. That's my twin, yeah, I pop spraying. I don't give a fuck about what you saying. See that AP on my hand. See Terrell to go up fan.
A teenage boy is charged with murdering his sister-in-law and two nephews in New Hampshire in what's known so far as a motiveless crime spree. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Sierra Gillespie. So let's start by taking a closer look at the gruesome details of this case. Last August, police were called to a home in Northfield, New Hampshire. That's about an hour and a half north of Boston. There, first responders found 3 bodies inside the home. Each person had been shot and killed with a single gunshot. Officials later identified the victims as 25-year-old Cassandra Sweeney and her 2 sons, 4-year-old Benjamin and 1-year-old Mason, who was killed just a month shy of his 2nd birthday. 8 days later, investigators arrested Sweeney's nephew, then 16-year-old Eric Sweeney, in connection to the triple murders. At the time, his name wasn't released because of his age, but
Y'all lame as fuck, bro. Y'all just doing shit just to be doing it, bro. Y'all did all of this for what, bro? What was the motive behind it? Is y'all trying to get life insurance money, bro? Y'all that desperate, y'all need money, fam. Like, go get you a job. And I'm just keeping 1,000. It's like, get money the right way, fam. Like, what the fuck is you doing? What are you doing, fam? Just crashing out for no reason, fam.
Since been indicted for these murders by a New Hampshire grand jury. Local outlets report that Sean Sweeney, Cassandra's husband and the father of those 2 boys, said he was worried for his family's safety leading up to their murders after finding weapons in the garage and woods nearby their home. To try to make sense of what happened,
Y'all could at least got rid of the fucking murder weapons and shit. Like, is y'all slow to sit up there and leave it at the crib, fam? Y'all left it around the crib? Nearby, y'all slow, bro. Y'all, this is what I'm saying, bro. Just crash out dummy shit. Y'all could at least, like, you know what I'm saying, buried that bitch. Like, y'all could have, you know what I'm saying? They're better than that. Y'all just did this shit. Just up and did it. Like, that was a bad idea. That was not a good idea. Fuck is you talking about? Because look where you at now, bro. Look where y'all at now, fam. Because y'all sat up there and did that. Like, get y'all goofy ass on. Y'all don't get no cool points. And I send my condolences to the family and shit, dog. Because that's fucked up. Motherfuckers couldn't even enjoy their life. Live their life to the fullest, fam. Them is babies, fam. They was innocent as fuck, bro. Them is innocent as fuck, fam. Y'all did that for what, bro? Like, get y'all goofy ass on.
and what we know so far, we're joined by former CIA officer and FBI special agent Tracy Walter. Tracy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Sierra.
Now, a triple homicide, it's really a tragedy any way you spin it. But what's puzzling about this case is that we still don't have a motive. So is it more likely that there's no motive at all, or that investigators are keeping the motive just close to the vest?
My guess is that investigators...
Man, I'm going to tell y'all what I think the motive is. About money, fam. Money, fam. I bet you it's got something to do with money. And I'm just keeping 1,000 with you. Because 99% of the time, majority of the time, it's got something to do with the life insurance money, fam. With money in general, dog.
probably keeping the motive close to the vest, although the motive may not make sense to us, right? It's hard to say what drives people to do the things that they do. My guess is particularly because we have that call placed by Sean Sweeney to law enforcement 12 days prior to the murders, that there was...
I'm telling you, bro, they did that to buy, you know what I'm saying, video games and shit, buy cars and shit. Like, I'm telling y'all, dog. Come on, fam. They spent that on clothes and shit. I'm telling you, fam. I just got a feeling there's something about money, dog. It got something to do with money, fam. And I'm just keeping it $1 with y'all. I just feel like it's got something to do with money, bro.
Something in Eric Sweeney's behavior that was leading up to this. So I do suspect that there is a motive that would probably be in the probable cause affidavit that was used to indict him. I don't know whether or not that's going to be released. And if it is released, I don't know if it's going to be heavily redacted.
If there is a motive and investigators know it and are just choosing not to release it, why is that? Why would they keep it secret at this time?
I personally think there's a couple reasons. First, you don't want to put it out there because if this goes to a jury trial, you don't want to necessarily taint a jury pool and make it very difficult to obtain impartial jurors. So I think that's issue number one, in which they wouldn't release that to the public. Also, it could contain information that would be used to possibly convict him in this case. Also, I'm not sure, given what their age restrictions are, if that is allowed because he is a minor to be put out there. So I'm uncertain what New Hampshire law says about that, but I do think
it don't even matter, bro. They could try his ass as an adult. They could try him as an adult, fam, and put his name out there. Fuck is you talking about, fam? Like, come on, fam.
his age could be playing a factor into why it wouldn't be released in its entirety.
So at the start of this investigation, back in August of last year, I mean, individuals come to the scene, they're investigating it as detectives. What would they do in order to determine a motive? What are the steps of the investigation process on that end?
I mean, the first thing that they would do is interview surviving witnesses or surviving members of the family. So in that case, it would have been Sean Sweeney and Eric Sweeney. It sounds like they were all living in the same house. That's what I gleaned from this. So that's what you would do, is you'd start with those that were closest to the family and then work your way out. Sort of, that's the approach to most investigations. The other thing that they would do is probably seize all electronic devices in the home. So computers, cell phones of the deceased, as well as cell phones of those surviving witnesses. Because in this case, I do think that a digital history is probably going to...
Because it is prior history to this shit, fam. I mean, I'm finna just up and do this shit, fam. And what I mean by that is prior abuse, fam. Like them beating on they, you know what I'm saying? They siblings and shit. Whoever they is to them, fam. You know what I'm saying? Sitting up there torturing them and shit, bro.
A large part. The next thing they would want to do is obviously gather as much evidence as possible in and around that home, and then preserve that evidence for proper processing.
I think with a case like this, first of all, a triple homicide is shocking to anyone. But then you hear about the suspect, who was 16 years old at the time. I believe he had only just turned 16 a month before the crime. So he's a very early teenager, rather young. What do you think about his age? Should that be considered as the investigation continues and as it moves into court proceedings?
So Bespoke Post, they just send you a cool box every month.
Wow.
The value of every box is at least around $70, if not more. It's a pretty smart.
This is going to sound sad, maybe a bit pessimistic. I'm actually less concerned with his age. I'm actually more concerned with the fact that this seems to me...
Exactly, fam. For the simple fact that he know right from wrong, dog. He know what he did was wrong, fam. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, dog.
To be almost an assassination. If they were all killed with a single gunshot wound, I have to think at this point that they may have been restrained, although I don't know. None of that evidence has come out, simply because...
And then also, the motive could be jealousy, like on some real shit. Like, it could be jealousy, dog.
Who's very familiar with weapons, with a .40 caliber, which what sounds like a handgun. It sounds like he wasn't using a semi-automatic. It's very difficult to kill someone if you're not well trained with a first shot. So I have to wonder, this seems very much like an assassination. And that, I have to be honest, is extremely disturbing to me, especially when we're talking about a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old. I also think, too, his age isn't going to be as much of an issue. It tends to become a bigger issue when we're looking at death penalty cases. So if New Hampshire was a death penalty state, which it's not, his age would become a factor. Typically, those under the age of 18, states have stipulations as to whether or not they can or can't be sentenced to death. Since they don't have it in New Hampshire, in my opinion, it's not going to be a mitigating factor. But when you have a 16-year-old who at the time of the crime was 16, committing basically an assassination against 3 members of his, I guess, extended family, I don't believe that this is going to be tried in a juvenile court, although we don't know for certain. I don't think that that's what's going to happen here.
Now, you just touched on something really important in this case.
And for the simple fact that he over the age of 18 now. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's not finna go to no juvenile court, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping 1,000 with y'all, fam.
Caliber handgun that investigators say is responsible for all 3 of the murders. So the suspect, he's now 17, by the way, Eric Sweeney, he's also indicted on account of falsifying.
They're trying to make it seem like he was like 22 now. Like, I'm thinking folks like 22.
Evidence involving that 40 caliber handgun. So what does that indictment mean, Tracy?
So what that
disregard what I said, bro, because I'm thinking folks are like in his 20s type shit.
is basically he tampered with the evidence to the point that it deterred investigators away from him, and he did so with the sole purpose of covering up, his activity in the crime. Sometimes evidence just gets moved around by people, and it's unintentional, and things like that unfortunately do happen in crime scenes. But what they're saying here is that he knew that that was relevant evidence, and he did something about that relevant evidence to go ahead and deter police officers and law enforcement from honing in on him. That's what that says. So I think the 2 that they're talking about here in this case are that 40 caliber handgun as well as the Taurus, which is his vehicle. So it sounds like in some way, shape, or form, he tried to basically either cover up or dispose of those pieces of evidence in order to shift the blame away from him.
And it's interesting that you bring up those 2 pieces of evidence, so the vehicle and the handgun. And we know that before the murder, Sean Sweeney, who's the father and husband in this case, he made multiple 911 calls about problems at home. He first reported that a car was being taken, and then he made reports about weapons, saying there were issues with a close member of his family. Now, the name of that family member wasn't released, but is it possible that that name was Eric Sweeney? It wasn't released because he's underage? And also, could that be seen as a warning sign, a red flag that had been ignored?
Yeah, here's the thing. I do think it was Eric Sweeney, and I think his name at that time was probably kept under wraps because he was 16, and that would have been the appropriate thing to do. A couple questions that I would have had at that point, I would need to look further into New Hampshire's red flag laws. I don't know if they have them. Not every state has them. If they did, they would have been able to seize those guns. Law enforcement would have been able to seize those guns and take them out of the home. I'd be interested to know what Sean Sweeney did with any of the guns that he found. He may not have been able to find.
Let me tell you what he did with them, fam. He just, let him out, in plain view sight for him to get in reach of him, fam. Because folks are not really like folks ain't really like that, fam. Like, come on, dog. Come on, fam. Because sooner or later, eventually, he gonna end up breaking down, fam. Like, I'm telling you, dog. He gonna end up breaking down, fam. Keeping it real with y'all, bro. Folks is not gonna sit there and keep it solid, dog. He's not. He gonna snitch on himself. He gonna tell why he did it.
All of them. But did he go ahead and dispose of the ones that he found? I don't know the answer to that question, but I would assume if he was concerned, obviously, about the activity.
He didn't have him locked up in the safe for none of that, fam. You know what I'm saying? That falls back on the dad, fam. That's his fault. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping $1,000, bro. Half of this is on him. He should have that motherfucker locked up in the safe.
That he would have perhaps locked those guns up or removed them from the home.
Exactly.
So if we're looking at the timeline of all of this, I'm interested in the investigation. Now, this happened in August of last year, August 3rd. So now we're here in October 2023. It's been more than a year since these 3 victims were shot and killed. What do you believe the investigation looked like in the past year as all this new information has been collected?
Yeah, that's what's actually interesting to me. Typically in a case like this where you have someone who's close to the family, a member of the family, and I'm assuming probably lived at the home, I would have thought that the arrest would have happened, or the indictment, would have happened a lot sooner. But I think in this case, because he is a minor, they were probably ensuring that they had all of the evidence that they needed. And quite frankly, he probably was not cooperative. I'm assuming, didn't admit to the crime. And so I think that takes time as well, because he has to have, court-appointed attorneys, psychologists, child advocates, all of those things. That all takes time. And he is, whether we like it or not, he is entitled to that.
So as we're moving forward with this case, I mean, it's already more than a year old and we haven't even set up a trial date yet. What is next? Is the investigation still underway? How are things being prepared?
I mean, how he gonna sit up there and deny that he didn't do that shit? You feel me? Like, come on, dog. So eventually he gonna end up breaking down, like I said, bro. Folks gonna end up breaking down. Like, come on, dog. You ain't got no choice.
Court.
Well, I think he has his arraignment coming up. I believe it's November 3rd, but I could be incorrect on that date. So obviously that will be the first step. And that's, at that point, we will see whether or not he's going to waive his right to a speedy trial. I have no idea, quite frankly, what's going to happen in that case. I think what's going to determine that is the preponderance or lack of evidence that they have. So I think that's going to sort of be the first thing. Also, my guess is he's going to have a court-appointed attorney, although, I can't say for certain. I don't know what his financial situation is like. In terms of investigation,
Bro, y'all want me to tell y'all, fam? The court appointed him a lawyer, fam. Like, he has a public defender, whatever the fuck you want to call it, bro. He has one of them, fam. Like, he doesn't have the money to actually get a lawyer, fam. And I'm just keeping 1,000 with you, dog.
my guess is it's actually probably wrapped up, quite frankly, at this point. Typically, when you see an indictment, it's not that the investigation just magically stops and, doesn't keep going on. But really, the crux and bulk of it is over. So you're not going to see too much in terms of investigation. It's more going to be administrative court dealings. And if he doesn't waive his right to a speedy trial, obviously we'll see a trial shortly. He may plead, right? There's all these different avenues that he can take.
With a case like this, especially with a suspect that is so young, 16 at the time, it makes us wonder, is a crime like this preventable? What do you think?
That's a hard question. And let me explain why. So I'm a parent, and I think before I was a parent and an FBI agent, I think I would have answered that question differently. I have a couple questions. Why was this individual living in the...
To me, I just feel like you really don't know, fam. Like, you really don't, fam. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what's going on through the motherfucker's head, fam. But you can peep the signs, you could try to peep the signs type shit. Pay attention to the signs, fam. But at the same time, it's like, nah, fam.
Home, what was going on prior to that? Was he not getting treatment of some sort that he needed? Were there behavior problems in the past?
That's what I'm saying,
I guess this could have been preventable, but at the same time, parents try to be the best parents that they can and try to do the best thing that they can. And so I don't want to sort of blame the victims in a case like this for not doing more. It sounds like they were doing everything possible. They did notify authorities, and it sounds like maybe they took him in and he was living with them, although I'm not certain about that. And so I don't know if this is necessarily preventable, because I don't know if he was receiving treatment, if he had been threatening in the past. There's just so much I don't know in order to really make a statement on that.
Right.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Every time I talk to you, you always give us such a good insight into a case. So thank you for clearing things up a bit.
Yeah, that's the end of this video. Y'all give me y'all thoughts on it. But I love y'all, and I'm gonna see y'all in the next one, man. I'm out.
Heavy shit, nigga.
It's Vortex, bitch.
high in the palace. Take the pounds, I'm high in dollars. Know that car ain't got no mileage. Bitch, I'm booted off for Molly. Got the munchies, I'm eating Takis. I'm just being honest. See my dreams, know I'm chasing. Told my mama I'ma make it. Every risk, I take it. Risk takers, ain't no snaking. Woke up, ate me some bacon. Then I played the PlayStation. Sign a Sony, might be okay. Catching plays, watching anime. Every shit nigga. I be gone for days. Hot boxing, not focus. See a bad bitch, know I'm focused.